The Knicks have had a pretty good offseason. They managed to get the guy they wanted all year in Jalen Brunson, which gives them a huge upgrade at point guard. They re-signed Mitchell Robinson to a 4-year deal, and they picked up a damn good backup center in Isaiah Hartenstein. With these moves, the Knicks upgraded a roster that finished just outside the play-in tournament last year. So in this video, I'm going to argue that the Knicks are going to make the playoffs next year. Now, I'm fully aware that this is a hill that I can very easily end up dying on, because the Knicks aren't exactly a team that you usually want to bet on.
In about an hour, I'm gonna piss away 20 grand.
What, are you gonna bet on the Knicks? I'm sorry.
And if I end up being wrong, feel free to roast me in the comments. But I think that after the moves that the Knicks made, that they're a much improved team. So let's get to these reasons why the Knicks will make the playoffs. But before we continue, I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you enjoy the content, please like the video and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. The first reason the Knicks are going to make the playoffs is the addition of Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson gives the Knicks something that they haven't had in years, and that's a competent point guard that can break down the defense and create easy baskets for himself and others. The Knicks were hoping that Kemba Walker would solve their point guard woes last year, but years of knee injuries robbed him of his athleticism, making him unable to blow by defenders like he did in Charlotte. The Knicks were so underwhelmed by Kemba, they flat out asked him to stop playing for them after the trade deadline. But Brunson, on the other hand, is a point guard with an advanced scoring and playmaking package. He could get in the paint at will, and despite being just 6 feet tall, he's one of the most efficient scoring point guards. He's also a very good playmaker and adept at running the pick and roll. Brunson averaged 16-5 last year, but also averaged 20-8 in regular season games without Luka, and 21-4 in the playoffs, helping Dallas to make the Western Conference Finals. This shows that Brunson is a better player than what his regular season numbers indicated, and now that he's on a team where he can be the primary ball handler instead of playing off of Luka, he can have a breakout season. Brunson's playmaking and scoring will have a monumental impact on the Knicks. Expect Mitchell Robinson to have a career high in points per game this year. Mitch is one of the best roll men in the league, but simply hasn't played with a good pick and roll guard his entire career. Now that he's playing with a pick and roll ball handler who's a great offensive threat, Mitch will find himself getting dunk after dunk. The presence of Brunson will also benefit RJ Barrett by taking pressure off of him and allowing him to get more catch and shoot 3-pointers off of Brunson's penetration. And without being the primary focus on defense like he was last year, expect him to continue to score a lot of points, but on much better efficiency. Brunson should also unlock a more efficient Julius Randle. Instead of Randle carrying the offense like he has the past 2 years, Brunson will allow Randle to play off the ball more. Brunson and Randle could run pick and roll, and Randle could get a lot of easy baskets as a roller to the rim. Randle's most efficient season was in New Orleans, where he got plenty of easy baskets getting set up by Jrue Holiday. Brunson has a chance to have a similar impact. Overall, Jalen Brunson not only gives the Knicks a huge talent upgrade at the point guard position, but his rim pressure and his playmaking will truly unlock the Knicks' offense. The next reason the Knicks are going to make the playoffs next year is their defense. Now, the Knicks were a bad team last year, but they actually were pretty good defensively. The Knicks finished the regular season 11th in defensive rating. Now, they didn't start off the year very good defensively, but towards the midway point of the season, once they took Kemba Walker out, it started playing some more defensive-minded guards like Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes. The defense got a lot better. And going into next season, the Knicks still have a lot of good defensive pieces. Mitchell Robinson is one of the elite defensive bigs in the league. He's a terrific shot blocker that's tough to finish over, but he can also switch and he rebounds well. Isaiah Hartenstein is also a good defender that protects the rim well and can switch, which means the Knicks will have a legit 48 minutes of rim protection. Now, Jalen Brunson is not a good defender, and he is limited by his lack of height, but he's also not the complete defensive liability that Kemba Walker was last year. RJ Barrett is a very good perimeter defender that can guard the other team's best player and do a damn good job. The main weak link of the Knicks defense is Evan Fournier, who's a great shooter, but also a bad defender, which is why the Knicks need to bench him and start Quentin Grimes over him, who's a much better defender. With the defensive pieces that the Knicks have combined with Thibodeau's hard-nosed coaching, expect another top 10 defense next year. Finally, the Knicks will make the playoffs largely thanks to their deep bench. The Knicks had a lot of weaknesses last year, but a big strength of the team was their bench. It was a consistent theme last year that the starting unit would play like garbage and the second unit would bring them back in the game. The Knicks even had to close some games with their second unit sometimes. Well, not only are the starters better, but the bench will still be good next year. Derrick Rose will be back healthy, and Emmanuel quickly showed a lot of promise at the end of last season. It combined those guys with solid role players like Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish, and Isaiah Hartenstein, and the Knicks should have one of the best benches in the league again. Last season, in spite of all the turmoil, the Knicks still managed to get 37 wins, which is just 4 games below 500. With the improvements to the roster, I would expect at least 45 wins, which could get the Knicks in the playoffs, but I don't necessarily mean that they'll make it outright. The Eastern Conference is extremely deep, but the Knicks should be able to at least finish between the 7 and 10 seed and make the play-in and have a fighting chance of earning a playoff spot. With the positive changes that Leon Rose has made this summer, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it and hit that subscribe button. And tell me in the comments if you think that the Knicks will make the playoffs next season. In order for the Knicks to make the playoffs, they're also going to need some of their young players to make a leap. Click this video to see why Cameron Reddish is a huge X factor for the Knicks for next season.